Hey guys, we're editing another one of our fitness images. This image, I think we can do a bit more of an extreme close-up. I am thinking of taking it black and white. I'm thinking a black and white kind of gritty picture would be brilliant for this. So let's get started with it. So first thing is crop. I'm in Lightroom at the moment. And I want to actually do a really tight crop. So I'm going to come right in. Now, I'm deliberately going to leave a little bit of the crease here between the arm, because if I crop all the way up here, the reality is this could be anyone's hand. It could be anyone's hand coming in. And as soon as you see that, it's really weird. So I think you need a little bit of the crease just to have that connection between. And I want to cut into the head. I don't want to have too much space above. I actually want to cut right in. I want to make this quite an intimate portrait. And I quite like that there. I'm not worrying too much with my ratios because I'm just cropping whatever I like. Because this image is just for me. It's for social media. It doesn't really need to fit any particular size. So I'm just cropping how I like it. So it's a bit longer than normal. Now, I think I'm going to make this black and white, but before I do, I'm going to play with my vibrance. I want to bring that down so we can see what it would look like with vibrance fully down, which is almost black and white. Vibrance leaves a little bit into the more colours, into red tones. If I bring that up a little bit, I quite like that colouring better than maybe taking it fully black and white. It's still monochromatic in the sense that it still really does only have one sort of tonal range to it, but I quite like that. Now I want to tone down this little highlight here. I like it, I like the glow, but actually here I really want the face to be the main point. So if I go onto my mask, I'm going to grab my brush and I'm going to draw over this bit. Now I'm going to be quite clumsy with my drawing because I'm only going to bring the highlights down. So it's not really going to affect my background very much. As you can see here, I can play around with that and I can really tone that down quite a lot. I'm going to do the same on the hand, just in there. Now I think if I do that on the shoulder, yeah, it's going to be too much. So we're going to undo that, but that is perfect. Now I might tone down a bit more of this shoulder as well. So I'm going to do a different mask for this because that's going to be far too intense. And I'm going to draw around the areas, leaving the edge that I want to tone down a tiny bit. There we go. I like the edge. I like the glow on the edge, but I think that's just a bit nice to just tone that down and make the face the focal point here. Now, finally, I'm just going to actually lift this area up a little bit more. I'm going to do one more brush. I like using my brush today. Grab this area here and push those highlights up a tiny bit more. I can pull the exposure a bit if I want to. Perfect. I think that looks good. So if I go from original, you can see our focus shift from this area and this area right up to the face. And we're noticing the face expression a lot more. Now I quite like that. I think that's looking rather nice. I play around with my highlights overall a little bit. I quite like that. Now let's try playing with the texture on this. Yeah, I quite like adding that texture in. I think that's nice. Play around with the clarity. I almost never like dehaze. It's weird. So I don't know why they invented that one. But yeah, I think that looks really nice. Now, before I move on into Photoshop, I'm going to use my shadows and let's create a bit more of that desaturated color. So using the oranges into my shadows and then using yellow into my highlights, I'm just enhancing that sort of desaturated color and I quite like the glowy effect. Now, I'm not sure I want that as strong as it's looking. So I think I might actually go with a complementary colour and take this round to my cyan for my highlights. Yeah, no, I like that much better. I think that's given a bit more of a metallic feel. Quite like the metallic kind of look. So absolutely love that. Happy with that. Let's whack that into Photoshop. Finish off our image. I think that looks really good. Yeah, I'm happy with the contour and the shapes. Okay, so first thing, anything we want to remove, I'm just going to remove Any little bumps coming around there. I'm going to remove that hair because it's annoying, and that hair there. And I'm going to come around. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good from there. I like it. So on this one, I'm going to remove the lines on the head because we're not adding expression. It's not adding anything. And I want to draw us to the eye. So I'm just grabbing my patch tool, dragging that up and making sure I'm staying within the area of the head. Oops, let's grab that. That's most relevant to it. So there we go, going from there. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. The reason for this is we're going to add a little bit more texture and softening by doing a little bit of a skin edit. I want to keep the texture, but I want to soften the skin a little bit. I want a soft but gritty effect. So you'll see this in my other videos for skin edit, but I'm just going to use my skin edit here. Add that on that I wrote earlier. I have many others, but this is the one I've been playing with mostly. And then I can just draw that in, and you'll see it's going to soften that skin a lot. Really nice. Now remember, I added that grit. The skin didn't need softening. I added that texture, but what I wanted was the texture, so that I could keep it, and then I can soften the tone underneath just a little bit. Perfect. So you can see that's just in a nice soft haze kind of effect there, and I think that looks really good. Now finally, I'm just going to grab my dodge tool, dodge into the eye a tiny bit, and just enhance that eye just ever so slightly. Now, I think that looks really good. Really happy with that, especially as a much more dramatic kind of close-up. Now, the only thing I think I want to do, I think I want to make it a little bit more cinematic. Now, there's a trick you can do. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know what these are for, really, but I use them if I go down to my adjustments, and we're going to add a color lookup. Now, it's like a filter. It works like a filter. Most of them are weird. So actually, that one's not too weird. I picked one that wasn't too terrible. However, the ones I actually like a lot are these ones down here, the Kodak. Now, the middle one is my favorite because it's a really nice deep brown. But for this one, I was thinking of the one underneath, which actually flattens my image out, and creates a bit more of a hazy film effect. But I'm going to take the opacity of that down, so it's just lifting the shadows ever so slightly and just creating that little bit film effect on top. So really happy with that. I think that looks really good. And from the original, I think that's quite a difference.